is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
It's still early days, but the state government is hailing its plan to create a job-ready generation a big success, with new data showing more than 500 students are studying Year 11 and 12 at the recently extended schools around the state.
A self-proclaimed success, the state government's Year 11 and 12 high school extension program seeing 63 enrolments at Ulverston High School alone, following a $415,000 investment to provide senior students with their own learning areas.
Students that may not have gone on to Years 11 and 12 can do it in their local community here at the Ulverston High School.
Labor refusing to be impressed by the figures and pledging to fight the federal government over proposed cuts under the new Gonski 2.0 model that it says will see the state more than $80 million worse off over the next 2 years.
Education in Tasmania can't absorb those cuts. We need to have a minister who will stand up and speak loudly and get the best outcome for Tasmanian students.
What's most alarming, according to the Shadow Minister, a potential $8 million cut to Tasmanian students with a disability. But the Education Minister says it's not time for panic stations just yet.
We've got $16 million more funding for students with disability in our schools right now than we would have had under Labor and the Greens.
The Greens today ramping up their fight to save the state's embattled wombat population, claiming the government's revocation of 3 or 4 wombat cull permits won't do.
It's not gone far enough. We want to see a permanent ban on shooting wombats. There's absolutely no necessity for our precious wildlife to be shot.
But the Primary Industries Minister has no plans to take things further.
The Chief Veterinary Officer, and indeed the evidence, does not support a statewide ban.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
A warning now that some viewers may find the following story distressing. The most controversial performance in the history of Dark Mofo is expected to go ahead tomorrow, despite fears of animal rights protesters. An 11th hour request has been made to cancel the gruesome animal sacrifice, with fears it could damage Tasmania's reputation.
This is the confronting work of Austrian artist Hermann Nitsch. Tomorrow his 150 action performance will go ahead, despite months of opposition from animal activist groups.
Absolutely unnecessary, and it's obscene, and I don't think this is what Tasmanians want visitors to the state to remember us for.
Nitsch is preparing to use a slaughtered bull to explore the ritual of sacrifice. 3 hours of blood, guts and gore for viewers, an artist reflecting on his war-torn upbringing.
There's some sort of mirror to Europe to confront the realities of the horrors perpetrated by the Nazis during World War II.
Despite reassurances the animal will be killed humanely, the RSPCA says it shows no respect for the animal after death.
It's not being killed for any other purpose. It is being killed just so somebody can open it up, loll around the insides, throw a bit of blood around, and then the animal's going to be thrown on the tip.
The original defence from Mona's David Walsh centred around the animal being slaughtered for food. But with regulations now refusing the meat's consumption, it's being seen as needless gratuity.
This would have to be the most controversial work in this country in 30 years.
But this government is not going to be the arts police. This is freedom of speech. It's what Dark Mofo does. It's controversial.
Organisers were forced to reissue tickets to the performance out of fears of protesters. Tomorrow, animal activists will converge here for a peaceful protest as the location of the event remains under wraps.
When all the black and red has been taken down from around the city, the community will be left with this, and it'll be a discussion that will be ongoing.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A Burnie man has been charged with 2 counts of causing grievous bodily harm after 2 men received life-threatening injuries during an altercation at the Burnie Dogs Home in November last year. It's alleged the men were stabbed by the caretaker of the home after they were caught attempting to take back one of the dogs. They were taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital and underwent emergency surgery. The 21-year-old man will front court at a later date. Glendew Primary School has confirmed one of its students has whooping cough and is urging parents to make sure their children stay away from others if they have any signs of the highly contagious infection. The Department of Health says early signs are a runny nose, mild fever and a bad cough. The infection can affect people of all ages and is extremely serious for babies. An elusive Tasmanian artist has left his mark on a new exhibition. The Queen Victoria Art Gallery hosting works by Frederick Strange, a convict who became a painter and created some of Launceston's earliest landscapes from the 1840s to 1860s.
And the extraordinary thing about him was he never signed a work. He never titled it and he seldom dated it.
And he was painting furiously to earn a living, painting on demand almost, and in many cases he was undercutting fellow artists out there.
Some items have never been seen publicly before. The gallery believes there are many more paintings by Strange yet to be discovered. The RSPCA has rescued 24 cats from an abandoned car in Tasmania's south. The animals required veterinary assistance and are now being cared for at the RSPCA shelter in Mornington. Tasmania Police was involved and the investigation and inquiries are continuing. The RSPCA is urging people not to leave their animals unattended in vehicles or confined spaces. Elfin Stadium, the home of the Launceston Tornadoes, is set for a revamp thanks to a $230,000 state government injection for upgrades and ongoing maintenance. The work will include new retractable seating and a new curtain.
It's a centre that has served this city for decades, but it's a centre that's been loved to death.
And judging by today, it seems the Treasurer's jump shot is in need of just as much work as the stadium. Elite runners are limbering up for the Launceston 10. Around 2,000 people have put their names down for this year's run so far. Among them, 2013 winner Ben St Lawrence, who is returning from injury.
Sometimes you feel like waiting until you're going to be in top form to race, but I feel like I'd rather get into it and I miss it, and I'll be able to use this race to help get me a next step towards being in full fitness.
Rio Olympian Eloise Wellings is also taking part. She says the event is part of her build-up to the Athletics World Championships in August.
Getting a feel for the atmosphere and the energy and just getting excited.
The race has a different course this year, commencing from City Park. The starting gun goes off for the main race at 10:30 on Sunday. A young Tasmanian chef is reaching out to help other cancer sufferers after she was diagnosed with an advanced form of the disease. The Hobart local, who is now in remission, has released cooking videos as a guide for others battling cancer.
Lily Trewatha was 21 and a well-renowned Tasmanian chef when she was diagnosed with advanced Hodgkin's lymphoma. She underwent stem cell transplants and chemotherapy that lasted a year.
I am now in remission. As of the 18th of June, I'll be 2 years. So that's this Sunday, which is pretty exciting.
Lily lost 90% of her taste buds and had to pair eating with nausea medication. She says what made the time especially hard was often bland and processed hospital food. The only thing that returned a sense of normality to her usually busy life was cooking.
I never really wanted to eat, but I pushed myself to. I lived by the mantra, every mouthful counts.
Now, along with Cancer Council Tasmania, Lily has released a series of free online video clips to help others with cancer maintain good nutrition.
And of course it helps you to deal with the side effects of treatment, so it's really important as best you can to eat healthily and have nutritional food.
I was a big fan of frozen banana smoothies. They kind of tasted like thick shake ice cream. And roast chicken.
The videos, which will soon be released nationwide, have tips for sufferers and their loved ones to try and make life more comfortable during treatment, like eating acidic or sour foods to stimulate taste buds. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Variety Tasmania has received $5,000 in extra funding thanks to a generous donation from Harcourt's Real Estate. The children's charity says it will use the money to purchase a replacement sunshine coach, supporting its work around the state. Upcoming events include the Monster Book Fair and the ever-popular Tasbash Car Rally.
Certainly helps us, achieve a lot with a small. Variety receives no government funding, so having the support of corporate partners and supporters like Harcourt's Foundation is integral to ensuring that we can help more kids.
The Harcourt's Foundation in Tasmania has so far raised more than $250,000 since it was established 8 years ago. A safe haven has been created for Tasmanian children who have suffered grief or trauma. City Mission opening the area as part of the Inside Out for Kids program. The youngest in our communities will be able to meet one-on-one with counsellors when they need support.
Being able to share what's inside so that what's out then becomes less powerful in your life because you've been able to share it with another person that you can trust.
The counselling program is also offered at 20 schools. Today's new facility is being supported by community and corporate donations. Now a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed higher as solid performances across the banking and industrial sectors softened late in the day, but lifted the market beyond a weak overnight lead on Wall Street. The ASX 200 index has risen by 10.8 points. Short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 75.95 US cents and 68.08 euro cents.
Well, their stories couldn't be more different. North Launceston enters this TSL round with 8 players coming off state team duties, while Hobart City Demons has its freshest side to pick from all season. But Tom Couch says he expects no drop in performance. Couch was part of the Northern Bombers Legion taking on the NEFL. The experience got the best out of him.
You got that mutual respect with the players, the better players from the opposition. You got that mutual respect anyway, so to get that opportunity to really get to know them, and it was a huge honour.
But also physically demanding, a factor Hobart City Demons will want to exploit this weekend.
We've got everyone available, which is exciting, which is the first time all year that we have.
The team's focus over the bye, ball movement up forward.
Advantages for us of not having anyone in the state squad is that we've been able to train together for the last 2 weeks with a focus on North Lonnie and how they're going to set up against us.
We've got to be physical at the contest because if they get it on their terms, they're going to cut you to pieces.
They play at North Hobart Oval. Sam Lonergan is feeling fresh after his 2 weeks off. He'll run out for Launceston against Burnie at West Park.
It's always nice to win this week, I guess, when you're playing a side's position a lot lower in the ladder. In saying that, respect them highly.
He says sharpshooter Sonny Whiting has lifted his game after being overlooked for the state team.
His attitude towards training and things like that have really picked up.
Fresh from its convincing 4-2 win in Monday's Lacko Seljap Cup final against Glenorchy, Olympia is now preparing to tackle the NPL ladder leaders. Coach Kenny Weston admits Devonport is his side's biggest test this season, but he's buoyed by the performances of his star striker.
Sklenner continues to turn defenders in knots since joining the Olympia lineup with 15 goals across 11 appearances so far in season 2017. And he'll be looking to continue that red-hot run of form when the Warriors take on ladder leaders the Devonport Strikers at home on Saturday.
Still enjoying the cup winning, but our focus is to beat Devonport tomorrow and be consistent in the competition and still try to win the title.
With Olympia preparing to enter the national stage in the FFA Cup round of 32, no doubt all eyes will be on the local NPL star. The challenge now to keep him in Tasmania.
Whatever will happen after the season, it's hard to say at the moment. I would like to have the biggest goals what I can, but it's something what I don't want to think about right now.
Olympia coach Kenny Weston says he's looking forward to the contest against Devonport, even though both sides have a few injury worries.
Chiwundi he's really hurt his ankle, so there's a chance that he's out for tomorrow, but I don't know how long it could be. Let's hope he gets a quick recovery, but it's ankle ligament issue.
In this week's other matches, Launceston City are at home to Kingborough, Rangers host South Hobart, and the Hobart Zebras will be looking for a win against Clarence. Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Well, we've made it through to Friday and a great weekend ahead of us, unless you're a Richmond supporter maybe. Hobart and Burnie 16 today, Launceston and Devonport a top of 15 degrees. 18 was the high at Bushy Park. That was after Fingal hit our low of -1. Temperatures still above average though. Bridports and Helens, Friendly Beaches, Grove and Campania all on 17 degrees. Ouse along with Flinders and King Island 16, Low Head and Maria Island 15, Strawn 10 today and Butler's Gorge 9. An extensive area of middle and high level cloud covers the southeast of the mainland. There is some low cloud, that's over the Southern Ocean to our west. Closer in and fairly clear skies over the state today, but there was that cover over the west coast, or the western half of the state. Tomorrow, a broad ridge of high pressure remains over the south of the mainland, directing a northwesterly airstream over Tasmania. The next front is well back south of Perth. Little wind picking up, northwesterlies at 5 to 15 knots, increasing to 25 knots during the day and to 30 knots over the west and south. Winds also up a bit over the lakes as well. So we do have a couple of warnings, a strong wind warning for waters between Tasman Island and Sandy Cape, and a small craft wind alert inland over those lakes. Forecast for tomorrow, mostly sunny for Hobart, 17 the top, a shower or two Medina, 14 and 13 the high for Oatlands after a cool start. Launceston, fine but partly cloudy, 15 the maximum, 15 for Devonport with a possible shower, -1 for Lyowini, a late shower and 10 degrees. Burnie, a shower or two and 15, same for Strawn and showers increasing for Marrawar, 15 degrees. And for the east, a sunny day, 17 for St Helens and Swansea, Orford a top of 16. On Sunday, showers over the west, south and Bass Strait Islands, mostly clearing during the morning, which is good news. Fine on Monday, apart from a shower over the west and the chance of one over northern areas in the afternoon. And on Tuesday, showers over the west and north, extending statewide during the afternoon. Mostly sunny weather for Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne and the Territory. Possible showers forecast for Sydney and Brisbane. And it's clear here, 10 degrees in Hobart, cooling down in Launceston, 6 at the moment and 11 degrees in Devonport. Joe, I'll be back on Monday, same time, same channel.
OK, Batman, thank you very much. That's all for the news team. Have a lovely evening. Good night.